somewhat PG, man. I can't get fired over this.
No, man. It's just a catch up. Yeah, this is actually episode 10.
But you were filming. You're already recording.
I'm recording right now. But that's how I like it. Like I don't have like an intro. I don't have like a jingle. You know, it's just kind of like you go into it, and we hear the voices. So
podcast at least. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I was about to intro do it, man. Let me do my thing.
You didn't even tell me. Like,
I know, but that's the beauty of it. We just kind of go in. All right, and 3, 2, 1, live. Back at it again. Episode 10. We got an OG, the star of the podcast, Jeff Spratt, checking in. We were actually just FaceTiming before, and we were kind of going into the story and like talking about, you know, catching up because we haven't talked in a while. And I was like, you know what, let's you know, put a pause on this conversation. We'll start the podcast up, record it, have everyone, you know, kind of hear from you again, because we did the first 3 together, right, when we were in Croatia, and then we separated, and now back on episode 10. So what's up, man?
Yeah, man, not too much. I mean, it was a pretty hilarious way to start, because you asked me if I wanted to do the podcast, and I was like, yeah, man, let's do a podcast. All right, let me call you back. And you called me back, and you literally hit play like right away. I had no idea.
Right away.
Cool.
I love it, man.
Yeah, so, just, you know, winding things down at school, you know, like 3 more weeks or something until the winter break, and I'm coming back to America. I originally was going to be in New Hampshire / New England the whole time, but I'm actually going to be going to Iowa for 3 nights to see my grandma and my uncle and stuff. My uncle got in touch with me, and he's like, hey, man, I really want you to come to Iowa, and I was like, okay. So it was like literally on Thanksgiving is when everything was booked and stuff. So that was a little impromptu trip. So I'll be back in the States for like a little less than 3 weeks and see my family and friends. And unfortunately, I won't see you because you're all the way over on the West Coast. But
yeah, well, you know, when are you stateside?
Are you coming to New England for?
I'm coming. I will be back in Massachusetts the 23rd to the Thursday. So I don't know. When? Oh, actually, I have it right here. I fly in the day before Christmas, so the 23rd to the 28th, I'll be back.
All right, dude. Well, I'll see you then.
Yeah, man. Are you in Boston like the back end? Like when are you in Boston? That whole.
I fly back into Boston on the 23rd. So I'm staying with Willis. I just talked to Willis right before I talked to you. I'm gonna stay with Willis. That night, I think, the 23rd, so you should chill with us, man.
Yeah, I might. My family might want to pick me up from the airport, but I'll see what I can finagle, because I think I land at like 6:30 at night. I don't know when you land, but...
I don't know when I land, actually, but...
Yeah.
See if you can... I mean, it's Christmas Eve, and Christmas Eve is for the boys, dude, so...
Christmas Eve is for the boys, you're right. I don't know how my mom will feel about that, but I can tell her.
All right, fair enough. Well, We'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. So what else is new, man? You were talking about how you were kind of down in the dumps recently, like after you had a big milestone, the 3-0, the big dirty 30 birthday. You know, let's talk about that and like where your mindset's at.
All right, sure. Well, I mean, I was coming off of like a super dope spring into a super dope summer, came into the fall so hot, started out the school year just honestly like on fire, killing it, running on all cylinders, feeling good. I was doing my podcast.
Yeah.
Turned 30 and everything was cool and it was amazing. And then like as soon as October struck, I started having like an existential crisis. I was like, geez, like what am I doing? Like, you know, this is year 6 of me living in Europe, which is awesome and I love it. But when I was like 20 something, it was like this whole, you know, I'm just like this 20 something kid, like,
yeah,
you know, thing in Europe and nothing really matters. And, you know, life isn't really like that important. And and like my brother had a baby with his wife over the summer. So I became an uncle. So that's like a new role. So it's just like all these things in my life are just like leveling up. And it's just got me thinking like, what am I doing with myself? And where am I going to be in 5 years? And where am I going to be in 10 years? And I don't necessarily have the answers to those things, but it just, I don't know. I just kind of started thinking, like, what am I, now that I'm 30, like in 5 years, I'm going to be 35. And that's like, I've never even thought about being a 35-year-old really. And now that that's only 5 years away, it's like, whoa, I guess I kind of got to figure out, like, what am I doing? And, I love my lifestyle. It's really cool because I get to travel a lot, and I love that. But the downside of that is that, like, I have no roots. Like, I have uprooted my life completely. So, like, I have, your 30s is a very kind of putting down roots kind of decade, at least, like, stereotypically. It doesn't need to be.
Right.
Make it. But I'm just thinking to myself, if I want to put down roots, where am I going to do that? And
yeah, is it going to be abroad? Are you back in
it's like, I don't know. And, obviously I'm just, it's, even if you have a plan of what's going to happen, that doesn't mean that's going to be what actually happens anyway. So, life doesn't always care about your plans anyway, but I don't know. I don't know. I kind of had, like I said, an existential crisis. And also I was, doing a podcast of my own, and I was talking about, like, meditating and working out and reading and doing all these things and waking up early. And I don't know, I felt like a charlatan because I was doing those things. And as soon as I started talking about them on my podcast, I, like, stopped doing those things. And then I was like, man, I am a straight charlatan, like, telling people to do these
not even
things
practicing what you preach.
Not practicing what I preach. And, like,
yeah, I mean, it's funny that you were saying that because you know how a lot of stuff happened. You turn 30, you went abroad for 6 years. Now you're an uncle, and it's all these new responsibilities and stuff, and now you're kind of wondering, oh, I'm in my 30s, like, am I going to be here for a while? Am I going back? And I relate to a lot of those things because I became an uncle, like, my freshman year in college. So, like, I had all these responsibilities, not, like, big responsibilities, but, like, my brother depended on me, like raising the kid, not raising, but, like, just being there and, like, supportive. And, I was, after school, I was living in Boston, and, like, they had another kid, and, like, everyone was, like, doing these things, like, getting houses and stuff, and, like, I saw, like, and I was working in Boston at the time, and I saw kind of, like, where my life was going to be in 5 years if, like, I wasn't changing anything, and I was like, no, man, like, I don't want any part of that. So I hightailed it out to California, and I've been here for over 3 years now, and, like, 28, wondering how long I'm going to be here. Am I going to go back? Like, and that, it's not even that big of a deal turning 30, but, like, it is kind of, like, in the back of your mind, like, society-wise, like, oh, now I should start actually figuring some shit out, and, like you mentioned, kind of cementing yourself and, like, having some foundations of at least, some sort of life.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, your life is what you make it. I mean, I've even thought about, like, maybe I'll just be this freewheeling dude, like, but, I have friends that are like that. You've met Rob. Rob is somewhat like that. My friend Paul.
How old is Rob? How old's Rob?
Like 56, 57.
Yeah, man.
He has, like a similar lifestyle to the one I have now. Like, he's pretty, he lives alone, and he travels a lot, and he's Australian, but he lives in Europe. Not that I'm Australian, but, he's a foreigner in Europe, and he's older than us, so he's done a lot more things than I've done. But, I think to myself, like, do I want that life? Like, of this, like, freewheeler, the life that I've been living, is that the life that I want for the rest of my life? And, I mean, the answer isn't yes or no. It's more of, like, an I don't know.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, one of the things, it's like this, the problem with, like, all these choices is you feel like you're going to make the real, like, whatever you choose, you feel like you can't have it both. You can't have them all.
Right. There's pros and cons to any decision that you make, There's going to be, like, really, really good things about living, the nomad life and kind of traveling around and, like, experiencing all these new things, because you're living a lifestyle that where a majority of the people, especially where you come from, aren't living that lifestyle.
No.
But who's to say you wouldn't be having more, enjoying yourself back here with, like, who you don't really know. No one.
Well, yeah, exactly. And, the life that I left in America is an awesome life. Like, when I remember I was 24 when I was in Germany, and, when that when I was on the plane flying over there, I'd only been to England. I'd never even been to continental Europe, and I kind of had this moment of like, what am I doing? Like, I have a sweet life, and I'm giving it all up, and I'm moving to a continent where I literally do not know one person, and like, it has been awesome. Like, and I've people, and I do have some really good friends here, and especially when I travel, like, I like to say that when you meet travel friends, it's like a very wide but shallow pool of friendships. So I've like a lot of really, really like shallow relationships with like a lot of people, but there's I think after like 5.5 years of this, it's like I just lack a lot of like depth in my life, in my like relationships, like, and especially like where I live in Switzerland, like I actually have more friends in places I don't live. And that's like a messed up thing. Like,
I know what you mean, man. It's like that even here. Like, I mean, I have like a lot of shallow relationships. It's just hard to like meet new people where you're like, where people will allow you to understand a little depth about themselves. Because like, everyone's like meeting new people, but back when we were kids, I don't know. It just seemed like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's. I know what you're saying, like, you meet some people, but it's all kind of, like, shallow, and, like, through passing, like, you acknowledge each other, but it's not like, you're inviting yourselves over to dinner for the holidays and stuff, or, like, having Friendsgiving and stuff.
Bad way, either. That I don't mean it like that, but, yeah, exactly. You're not family. You're just, like, friends. And, like, whereas you, I mean, you're, like, my quintessential college buddy. Like, we are family, dude. Like,
for sure.
To the end, like, I know we will always be friends. Like, it's not even cool.
Yeah, it's something I don't even need to worry about. Like, okay, I got, like, that's easy.
Yeah, bang.
Bang. Friend for life. Yeah, that's my brother. Done. Easy. Moving on to the next thing. Don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so, I don't know. That's kind of been what's going on with me. And, just trying to buckle down. And, with teaching, like, going into the winter break, there's a lot of things that you got to finish up and tie off. So just trying to get all that sorted out. And, looking forward to seeing some friends and family. I haven't been to America. This is the longest I've ever gone because I didn't come back home over the summer. Yeah. I've always gone home at Christmas for, 2 or 3 weeks, and then for the summer for 2, 3, 4 weeks or whatever. And this summer I was, as I was in Croatia all summer. So I have not been to America since last Christmas. So it's like, I think that's another thing that's just like, man, it's been a long time. And I'm like, I'm really ready to come back. My mom came and visited me in the spring. So I've seen my mom since then, but I haven't seen my dad in a year. And that is like,
that's crazy. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Haven't seen my brother in a year. Excited to meet my niece, who I also haven't met. She was born in like July or August.
Yeah. What's her name?
Michaela.
Nice.
Look forward to, just getting some family time and recharging. Actually, I talked to my parents and my, some of my aunts and uncles as well and cousins on Thanksgiving, like via FaceTime. And after that conversation, I was like, wow, like I needed that. Like I didn't even know how much I was starving for that kind of familial relationships and conversation, because it hasn't been a part of my life. Right. I'm terrible with contacting my family and even you, dude. We haven't, like you said at the beginning of the contact. When was the last time we talked? Right,
it's been a while. It's been a long time. I'm really bad at it too. Like I'm like very rarely calling my mom, my niece, and my nephew. Like I'm just really, really bad at it, which sucks. I can't tell, like, is that, like, a selfish thing? Is that just, like, a subconscious selfish thing? Like, you're on your own, you want to be on your own, like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think for me, it's just, it doesn't cross my mind, and that sounds horrible, but, I'm here, like, and you're in California, so you can relate to that. You're just completely somewhere else. Your whole life is just other things, and there's so many things going on. I constantly have things on the back burner here.
Yeah.
Things that are really, really, really important to you, like your family, your good friends, end up getting put on like the back burner.
Right.
And you don't. It's not that you want him to be there. It's just kind of how things happen.
It's just the way it is, yeah.